Alright everyone, it's time to weigh in on New Orleans and their Confederate monument removal stuff, because I think the removal of historical pieces is generally a bad thing. That includes those that stand for butchery. I'm not talking about generals from the Civil War, I'm talking about busts of Marx, statues of Lenin or Stalin, people wearing Che Guevara t-shirts and not even understanding who he was, a butcherous sycophant essentially. We have plenty of images of communist crap, both here and around the world. And communism killed maybe 100 million people over the course of the last century. Now, I don't see any of these same people that are saying huzzah, hallelujah at the removal of a couple of Confederate statues in New Orleans, or banning the Confederate flag on state grounds or whatever. I don't see them cheering on people who want to get rid of all communist imagery. Now, I see them talking about skinheads and the Confederacy. And that's all. Here's the thing. I live in the North. I live in genuine, total Yankee land. In fact, my state banned slavery before it even became a state. It's in our state constitution. We were the original gangsters of that movement. We were still an independent republic for a year before we actually joined up. We never had segregation either, never really had these problems. Nobody here fucking cared. We had like a bunch of French influence. It wasn't even strictly English or anything. And so our state did things a little bit differently over time. So I take some pride in that. And I weighed in previously, about a year ago, on the topic of the Confederate flag. I said I don't think it should be banned at all. I think people should be able to fly that flag. If a state wants to fly that flag, go ahead. Fly the battle flag of I think it's, what was it, the Kentucky battle flag or something, or some shit, Georgia battle flag. It's not even the actual CSA flag that's usually flown. It just happens to be the one that most is identified with Dixieland, I guess. The Civil War killed a lot of people, and slavery killed a lot of people too. But that's been done for a while. And I have to assume that most of the people flying Confederate imagery do not want to return to slavery and are not actual secessionists. I think most of them see it just part of, you know, oh, well, Southern pride. Yeah, those were our ancestors. They fought and died. They fought well. Yeah, they lost, but blah, blah, blah. Well, I fail to see that as a problem. You know, you've got black individuals that fly the Confederate flag too. Look at Ling Anderson. He's got a couple Confederate flags. He's like half Japanese, half Chinese. Has nothing to do with Deep South. It has nothing to do with slavery. That's just the way it is. But I just don't understand why people are so upset at this imagery. My goodness, it's just a fucking flag. And these are statues. These are historical pieces that celebrate people who did well in warfare. It doesn't mean that the state of Louisiana or the city of New Orleans is saying, oh, we want to return to slavery. What a glorious grand time that was. I'd point out most of the people who fought and died in the Confederate military never owned slaves. Many of them probably didn't even support slavery and honestly saw it as more of a states' rights issue or something like that. Also, can people remember one other really important thing here? That most of the northern individuals that had a big dick about the issue, they didn't actually like black individuals. Their idea of liberating the black population was sending them to Liberia, getting them out of the United States entirely. Abraham Lincoln was one of these people, and nobody ever talks about it. They never even talk about the fact that most of these great minds of the North that wanted to ban slavery were literally part of movements that were designed to encourage blacks in the North and eventually force blacks to move back to Africa. They said, well, they'll be happier. It's their native land, you know, even if they were born here and spoke English. Somehow that would work. We establish Liberia, we'll send them to Freetown or something like that. It's how this area of the world even forms in the first place. That was their idea. Their idea was never, oh yeah, everyone should live together, everyone will be citizens of the United States. That was never even in most of their minds. It was never part of the plan. There was never something, Lincoln himself never had that plan in mind. And then, of course, John Wilkes Booth, who sort of fucks the Southern mentality completely, kills him before he has a chance to enact any of those plans. And it's just kind of surreal and retarded, honestly. But note the hypocrisy. You've got people who are flying like Che Guevara flags or something like that, complaining about oppression because of Confederate monuments. It's just a statue that commemorates someone who happened to be, you know, they were from the community or whatever, and they were a general, they were a colonel or something. They fought bravely. Well, they're a soldier. They're supposed to fight bravely. It doesn't necessarily mean that they even believed in the ideals of, oh, Dixieland, we're going to have slaves or we're going to succeed from the United States. They were called upon to defend what was their homeland, and they did so. That's the point. I fail to see the problem with that. Now, I've said before as well that flying the Confederate flag ultimately is a little bit odd, though, because, of course, the Confederacy, in the end, it did lose. We're the United States. The CSA doesn't exist. But here's the other thing. Here's something that really rankles me when I'm seeing it from, like, Being Liberal or Salon or something. All the social justice warriors. They've been posting memes around with regards to this. Oh, well, you know, a consolation prize. They say basically, oh, flying the Confederate flag is the ultimate consolation prize because you lost. Ha, ha, ha. And I pointed out, well, what about, like, Hillary Clinton campaign stickers or something like that? I still see people with those on their cars. Is that not a fucking consolation prize? You didn't win. What about Bernie Sanders campaign stickers? A lot of people around here still have those. He came in second place to Hillary. So it's the same thing. Why are you so offended? Why are you so offended that other people would choose to fly the Confederate flag? You think they want to restore slavery and that's why they're flying it? They're a white supremacist or something. Oh, skinhead Nazis or so. That's not what it's about. It's just part of Southern culture. You may not like that. You may not have an appreciation for that. I'm from the North. Of course, I don't fly a Confederate flag. I might fly a Roman flag. Rome doesn't exist anymore either, but I'm still got the flag up on my wall. It's not because I want to restore the Roman Empire and you know, the slavery, honestly, that existed there. And, you know, all of these other things. It's not like I want to nominate an emperor and dissolve the Senate and declare an empire and start marching around in plate armor. It's just of interest to me. It's something I wanted to hang it on my wall. It's like a lot of these same people, by the way, a lot of the people who have a problem with the Confederate flag also have a problem with the U.S. flag. Oh, it's a symbol of imperialism and hate and warmongering and all these horrible things. It's terrible. I hope the U.S. empire falls. I want to be a serf. I want to, like, live... China would be so much better. Maybe Russia or something like that. Bunch of idiots. They're the same people that tend to have a problem with the Confederate flag. A lot of these people are just professional antagonizers. They don't have anything better to do than pretend that they're offended at everything. So they constantly circulate petitions that try to rain on other people's parade. That's all they do. And go ahead and fly your Confederate flag. Removing these statues, it's not accomplishing anything other than to put focus back on this issue. And you're taking a group of people that already, because of like the Confederate flag shit a year ago, and because of continuous problems down there, because of less improved race relations via Obama, honestly, because of his constant race baiting, these people in the South, white Southerners, already feel a lot more social alienation than they did in the past. And you're perturbing them further. That's not the smartest thing to do. What you're going to do is drive them into neo-Confederate actual secessionist groups, the Ku Klux Klan, skinhead rallies, and things like that. Specifically because it is government attempting to suppress the idea. It's not an organic movement, it's the government of the city of New Orleans doing this. The governments of some of these states doing this. It's seen as top-heavy. In fact, it's the exact same issue that caused a lot of Southerners to want to secede in the first place so many years ago. So keep that in mind. It's useless. People should fly the imagery they want. If a statue has already been bought and paid for and put up, just call it a fucking statue. It doesn't matter if it has to do with the CSA or anything else under the sun. It's like these people saying, oh, the statue of Cecil Rhodes must go here in South Africa. Why? It's already there. So just make another statue. Make a statue of like some ANC reformer or something like that. Put it next to Cecil Rhodes. Wouldn't that insult him more because he was like against that sort of stuff? If that's what you're really into? Why don't you use some symbolism and metaphor in your plans? I think it'd be a lot better. People who go around smashing statues all the time, unless it's the statue of a dictator who himself forced the people to put it up in the first place, shouldn't be happening. It's worthless. Declaring it an eyesore to get rid of it is sort of a really low-brow, underhanded workaround, honestly, in the end. So no, I don't feel offended by Confederate imagery. You know, if I happen to be like in Alabama or Georgia or something and I see Confederate flag, who fucking cares? Let people fly the flag that they want. Doesn't matter. Half the time it's going to be next to a U.S. flag anyway, properly flown a few inches above the Confederate flag. People are just showing, yeah, this is the South that you're in. This is the battle flag. You know, we're whistling Dixie. Who's offended at that? Why would you be offended? You know, someone, they're a minority. They're flying a Confederate flag too. Nobody cares. And some of these communities in the Deep South are more minority friendly anyway. You've got like some city, you look at Atlanta or something like that, a lot of minorities there. You're still going to see Confederate flags. And it doesn't seem like they're the people that are raising hell about it. It seems like it's inevitably a bunch of lawmakers from northern states in the federal government that are raising the specter of that issue. It doesn't often seem to originate in the South. So once again, you've got people who aren't Southerners going, it'd be like a bunch of Southerners saying, oh, the state of Vermont shouldn't have this tree on their state flag or something because it can't grow in warmer temperatures and you want to be more inclusive. So you have to put like two or three other trees there to represent all the different climates. So you're going to have like the little rainforest like jungle bush and a cactus, you know, on your state flag or something. It'd be retarded. Or saying, oh, the statue of Ethan Allen, you know, here in Vermont must go because otherwise it might offend people from the UK when they come over as tourists because he shot at British troops or something like that. No, I don't agree with that. I think it's history. It's a statue. It's already there. Why are you so worried about it? That's about all. Peace out.